The lobby of the Rosemont Grand Hotel was a study in elegance, marble floors gleaming under chandeliers, plush armchairs lining the walls, and the gentle hush of classical music playing overhead. It was the kind of place where guests whispered and bellhops walked briskly but quietly. And behind the mahogany front desk stood Leon, the receptionist, calm, composed, impeccably dressed in a charcoal gray uniform with a gold name tag that read Leon, front desk concierge. Leon had one of those voices that could soothe any storm, low, measured, and warm like a midnight cup of tea. He greeted each guest with the same level of dignity, whether they were a backpacker wandering in with tired eyes or a CEO barking orders into a Bluetooth earpiece. He never raised his voice. Never took the bait. And never, ever lost his cool. But today would test him like never before. It started like any other weekday morning. Leon arrived at 6:45 a.m., 15 minutes early, as always. He greeted housekeeping staff by name, checked the day's arrivals, and reviewed any VIP alerts. The lobby was still quiet, just the occasional shuffle of luggage wheels and the soft ding of elevators. At exactly 7:12 a.m., the front doors hissed open and in strutted her. Madison Cartwright. She wore her entitlement like a tailored jacket, perfectly fitted and hard to miss. Her heels clicked on the marble like a countdown, and her sunglasses remained on indoors, despite the low lighting. A slim designer suitcase trailed behind her, and she glanced around the lobby like it offended her. Leon offered his signature smile. "Good morning, welcome to the Rosemont Grand. How can I assist you today?" Madison lowered her glasses just enough to scan him. Then, with a scoff, she placed her purse on the counter as if it needed to be quarantined from the likes of him. "I have a reservation." "Cartwright. Madison Cartwright. And I'm in a rush." "Of course. One moment while I pull that up." Leon's fingers glided across the keyboard. Meanwhile, Madison sighed loudly, glancing at her phone, muttering something about wasting time. He found her reservation. "Yes, I see you've booked a deluxe suite for 3 nights. May I please see your ID and the card used to make the reservation?" Her eyes narrowed. "Why? I already paid. It's under my name." "Yes ma'am, we just need to verify for your protection." She snapped. "Look. I'm not stupid. I know this game. You're asking for all this because I'm a woman traveling alone, aren't you? Or maybe," she glanced him up and down, voice thick with venom, "you don't think I belong in a place like this." Leon blinked. "Once. I assure you, our process is the same for every guest." Madison leaned in, lowering her voice. "Don't play dumb with me. I know people. I've been to better hotels than this. I've stayed in suites that cost more per night than you make in a month. So maybe drop the attitude and do your job. If you even have the training for it." A few heads turned. Leon didn't flinch. "As soon as I receive your ID and card, I'll get you checked in." With a roll of her eyes, she practically threw the card and ID across the counter. Leon examined them, typed, and within moments, handed her a key card. "Suite 1403. Elevators are to your left. I'll have your luggage sent up." She snatched the card. "Took you long enough." But just before walking off, she paused. "You know, it's always the same. They put people like you at the front desk to make a hotel look diverse, for appearances. But the real decisions, the important ones, they're made by people who actually belong in places like this." Leon stood still. The air tightened. A nearby couple looked up from their coffee. Madison turned and strode to the elevators, content in the belief she'd just put someone in their place. But Leon didn't respond. He simply picked up the phone and notified housekeeping that suite 1403 was occupied. Behind him, the lobby buzzed back to life. Later that afternoon, as the hotel bustled with guests arriving for a conference, Leon resumed his usual rhythm, checking in new arrivals, offering directions, and making restaurant recommendations. He'd all but moved on from the morning incident. But life, and fate, had other plans. At 3:27 p.m., the elevator chimed and out walked a tall man in a tailored navy suit. His gait was relaxed, but there was something unmistakable in his presence, like he belonged in every room he entered. Guests and staff alike turned toward him with recognition. His name was Cameron Wright, CEO of the Rosemont Grand, co-owner, visionary, and Leon's older brother. Though not everyone knew that. "Hey, little bro," Cameron said as he reached the desk, clapping Leon on the back. Leon smiled, his first real one of the day. "You're early. Wanted to surprise you. Figured I'd grab coffee downstairs before the board meeting." He paused. "Everything good?" Leon nodded. "Same old." Cameron squinted at him. "That look says otherwise." Before Leon could answer, a voice interrupted them, sharp, shrill, and all too familiar. "Oh, perfect. You. Finally, someone who can actually get things done." Madison marched toward Cameron, completely ignoring Leon. "I need to speak to someone in charge. The receptionist here is useless. Slow, unprofessional, and honestly rude. I've been waiting for hours for basic things like towels and room service. It's a disgrace." Cameron blinked. "I'm sorry, who?" "Cartwright. Suite 1403. And I want a refund for the first night. That man," she pointed at Leon without even turning, "treated me like I was a nuisance." Leon said nothing. Cameron looked from her to Leon. "I see. And honestly," she went on, "I don't blame him, I blame whoever hired him. I've stayed at your hotels before, and this is a massive drop in standards. It's like you're hiring from charity programs now." Leon's jaw tightened. Cameron's eyes darkened. "I appreciate your feedback," Cameron said slowly. "But I think you've misunderstood a few things." Madison blinked. "Excuse me? You see, the man you've been belittling? That's Leon Wright. He's not just a receptionist. He's my brother. And co-owner of this hotel." Madison's face drained of color. What? "Yes," Cameron said, voice even. "Leon helped build this place from the ground up. Every system, every customer policy, he designed it. Including the one where all guests, no matter how entitled, get treated with dignity, even when they don't deserve it." The lobby was silent. Dead silent. Madison opened her mouth, but no words came out. Cameron leaned forward, his voice a low warning. "You judged him based on his skin. His role. His calm. But the truth is, this hotel runs on the strength of people like Leon. People who don't need a title to carry themselves with class." He straightened. "Now, as for your request for a refund, we'll be refunding your entire stay. Not because of your complaint, but because we no longer wish to host guests who treat our staff like they're beneath them." Madison staggered back. "You're kicking me out?" "Yes," Cameron said. "And we'll have your bags waiting in the lobby in 15 minutes. She looked at Leon, her gaze now laced with something she hadn't shown before, shame. Leon simply nodded. "Have a good day, Miss Cartwright." She turned, this time without a word, and left the lobby under the weight of her own humiliation. When the doors closed behind her, the staff burst into quiet, respectful applause. Not loud. Just enough to say thank you. Cameron clapped his brother on the back. "You handled that better than I would've." Leon smiled. "That's why you're the suit, and I'm the front desk." But everyone watching knew, Leon wasn't just the front desk. He was the soul of the Rosemont Grand. The lobby gradually returned to its usual rhythm after Madison stormed out, but a subtle shift had taken place. The tension had been replaced by a quiet reverence. A few staff members passed Leon with soft nods, not of pity, but of respect. It was clear that the incident had left an impression. The bellhop who had only been there a few months whispered as he walked by, "That was powerful." Leon didn't look up from the reservation screen. He just nodded, a small smile on his face. "Thanks," he replied. He wasn't interested in a spotlight. He never had been. But in that moment, without saying much, he had become a silent pillar for everyone around him. Later that evening, as the sun dipped behind the Dallas skyline and the lobby was bathed in a warm, golden hue, Cameron returned from his board meeting. He approached the front desk and leaned casually against the counter. "You good?" he asked. Leon gave a small nod. "Yeah. You?" Cameron sighed. "I had to explain to the board why we refunded a full suite without cause." Leon raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "And?" "They backed you completely," Cameron said. "Told me the hotel's culture is its brand. And what you did today protected it." Leon smiled softly. "Glad to hear it." Cameron studied his brother for a moment, the pride in his eyes unmistakable. "You ever think about coming upstairs?" Leon looked at him, puzzled. "Upstairs? To corporate? To co-run the chain? You've got the people's respect. You see things I don't. I'd probably get more done with you calling half the shots." Leon's face grew serious. He thought about it for a moment, then shook his head gently. "I appreciate that. Truly. But I'm not done down here." "You think this is a step down?" Cameron asked. Leon's gaze swept across the lobby. "This desk isn't just furniture. It's a front row seat to people's truths. If I ever forget why we built this place, to make everyone feel seen, it'll be here that I remember." Cameron didn't push. He just nodded with a smile. "All right then, Mr. Front Row Seat. Drinks tonight?" "Only if you're buying," Leon smirked. "Always." Later, Leon walked into the employee lounge where a few of the younger staff had gathered, housekeepers, bellhops, junior concierge staff. The moment he stepped inside, the room fell silent. One of the newer housekeepers stood and said shyly, "We just wanted to say thank you. For today. For standing tall." Leon held up his hand humbly. "Don't thank me. Just remember, your dignity isn't tied to your job title. It's tied to how you carry yourself." Another employee, barely 20, asked, "But weren't you angry? How did you not snap?" Leon leaned against the wall and took a breath. "Anger's easy. If I'd matched her behavior with fire, it would have proven her right. People like that, they want you to lose yourself. They want a reason to justify their small world." "So how do you fight it?" someone asked. Leon looked around at them all. "With presence. With excellence. With knowing who you are so clearly, they can't shake it. No matter what they say or do." He paused, scanning their faces. "You all belong here. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Meanwhile, Madison sat alone in her luxury rental car parked just outside the airport. The Dallas skyline glowed faintly in the distance, blurred by the haze of early night. She sat in silence, her designer sunglasses now discarded on the passenger seat. Her phone buzzed with a call from her assistant, but she didn't answer. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't angry. She wasn't scheming or demanding. She was still. Embarrassed. Humbled. The incident at the hotel had cracked something open inside her. And for the first time, a quiet question echoed through her chest, one she hadn't asked herself in years: "Who have you become?" Back at the hotel the next morning, Leon arrived just as the sun bathed the lobby in a golden light. He straightened the guest pamphlet, adjusted the notepad on the counter, and greeted the security guard by name. The air felt fresh, alive. As he moved about the lobby, an older woman approached him. She wore a janitor's uniform and moved with quiet grace. Her name tag read Miriam, Night Maintenance. "I saw what happened yesterday," she said softly. "You reminded me of my son. Always calm. Always strong." Leon smiled gently. "Thank you, Miss Miriam." She hesitated, then handed him a folded note. "She dropped this," she said. "That guest from yesterday. Found it near the elevators." After she left, Leon opened it. Inside, written in rushed but elegant handwriting, were a few simple lines. To Leon. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. About everything. Thank you for showing me what strength really looks like. M." He folded the note carefully and slipped it into his pocket, not out of ego, but as a reminder. People can change. Hearts can soften. And sometimes, dignity has an echo far louder than rage ever could. In the following days, Leon went about his work just as he always had. Greeting guests with warmth, mentoring new employees with patience, and handling complaints with unshakable calm. The staff looked at him differently now, not because of a title, but because of the example he set. He didn't need to speak about leadership. He was leadership. Without fanfare. Without needing a spotlight. They thought he was just the receptionist. They thought calmness was weakness. They thought humility meant inferiority. But Leon Wright reminded them, and everyone who heard the story, that true power doesn't shout. It doesn't intimidate. It doesn't need to win arguments or dominate rooms. It simply stands. Quietly. Steadily. Until the truth speaks for itself. And when it does, even the loudest judgments fall silent. Because in the end, respect isn't given by title. It's earned by character. And Leon? He earned it, without saying a single harsh word. Weeks passed, but the ripple effect of that single moment in the hotel lobby lingered. Guests began mentioning Leon by name in reviews. "The most gracious front desk experience I've ever had," one wrote. Another read, "I witnessed kindness and professionalism under pressure. Leon deserves recognition." Cameron noticed it too. Occupancy rates ticked up, but more importantly, so did staff morale. There was a new sense of unity. A quiet pride. Not because they were trying to impress anyone, but because they were reminded of their worth. Leon never once brought up the incident again. He wasn't interested in becoming a viral sensation. He didn't want interviews or applause. He continued showing up on time, in the same pressed navy blazer, with the same welcoming smile. But those around him, they saw him differently now. Not because he had changed, but because they had finally taken the time to see him. One afternoon, a woman checked into the hotel with a teenage son in tow. She looked tired, bags under her eyes, her hands trembling slightly as she passed over her ID. "Rough day?" Leon asked gently, scanning her name. She nodded, her voice cracking. "We've been driving from Houston. My husband's in the ICU up here." Leon paused. "I'm sorry to hear that. We'll take good care of you while you're here." As she turned to walk toward the elevator, Leon made a quick call to housekeeping. "Can you put some extra snacks in room 512? And maybe a note that says, 'You're not alone.'" He didn't do it for credit. He did it because that's who he was. That evening, Cameron stood by the mezzanine balcony overlooking the lobby, watching Leon assist an elderly couple with their luggage. He leaned over to one of the regional managers beside him. "You see that?" The manager nodded. "He's got something you can't teach." Cameron smiled. "Exactly." A few days later, a delivery arrived at the front desk. A sleek black envelope addressed simply, "To Mr. Leon Wright." Inside was a letter, heavy cardstock embossed with a gold seal. It was from the CEO of a major hospitality group. Someone who had heard the story through a friend of a friend. The letter offered Leon a high-ranking position at a 5-star hotel in New York City. 6 figures. A corner office. A fast track to executive power. Leon stared at the offer for a long time that night. He folded the letter neatly and placed it in his drawer. The next morning, he showed up to work at 7:58 a.m., 2 minutes early, just like always. When Cameron asked him about the offer, Leon just said, "That's not why I do this." In time, Leon became more than just the soul of the hotel, he became its quiet legacy. New hires were told, "Watch how Leon handles guests. That's how we do it here." His calm strength became the blueprint. His integrity, the culture. And slowly, stories about him began to travel, passed from one employee to another, whispered in break rooms, retold in training sessions. They weren't just stories about hospitality. They were lessons in humanity. And somewhere, miles away, Madison sat at her desk in a high-rise office. She was quieter these days. More thoughtful. She had taken a leave of absence after the incident and returned with a changed tone. One morning, she opened her drawer and pulled out the hotel's business card. She'd kept it, creased at the corner, worn from being handled so often. She held it in her hand for a long moment, then dialed the number on the back. "Good morning, the Delmore Hotel, this is Leon speaking, how may I assist you?" There was a pause. Then a soft reply. "I don't need a reservation. I just wanted to say thank you." Again. Leon smiled gently into the receiver. "You're welcome. Take care of yourself." And just like that, the call ended. No grand reconciliation. No applause. Just growth, quiet, powerful, and real. In the end, Leon didn't need a bigger title or a viral video. He didn't need revenge, nor did he crave validation. He had something stronger. Integrity that could not be shaken, even in the face of arrogance and prejudice. He proved that grace is not weakness, that restraint is not submission, and that sometimes, the most powerful man in the room is the one who chooses not to raise his voice. They thought he was just the receptionist. But he was the heartbeat of something greater.